The financial noose is being tightened as citizens of countries the world over faced increased fears of things like capital controls and currency devaluations and crazy inflation and so much more malarkey, all of which is setting the stage perfectly for Bitcoin. While the price action has been a bit tepid over the weekend, the macro case for Bitcoin is comparable, in my opinion, to a dam with a leak that's about to burst. How anyone can ever be bored in these markets, I don't understand it. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty stories for today, I want to start off with a bit of a lighter story coming out of Brazil, where we are seeing massive cryptocurrency adoption happening. 1.4 million Brazilian point-of-sale devices are going to be supporting cryptocurrency payments. A company called Cielo, which is the largest payment processing provider in Brazil, has unveiled support for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency purchases on its devices, which are deployed to basically every corner of Brazil. Users can make cryptocurrency payments through Cielo's devices via a QR code and, of course, their mobile phone with a cryptocurrency wallet on it. Obviously, for this to be super successful, we need more people who are actually willing to go out there and spend their cryptocurrencies to buy things. But I really like solutions like this because the cost for the merchant is basically zero. All they have to do is upgrade their software. They already have the point of sale device. And the unbelievable reach of this point of sale network from Cielo is very impressive. And now, if this was the only such story this year, I would still be bullish and very excited. But this year has seen a raft of stories like this one coming out of Brazil. This is just another little cherry on top of the cake. So moving on to China, where the government is clamping down on the flow of money in response to an increased likelihood of capital flight as the yuan weakens to a level not seen in 11 years, leading financial authorities in the country to deploy measures to try to stem capital outflow from China. China is currently floating a softer yuan to try to ease the impact on domestic exporters during the prolonged U.S. trade war, but at the same time, the screws are being tightened by Chinese authorities to ensure they have maximum control over any money leaving the country. Banks and real estate developers have been pressed to keep their funds within China, and authorities have also ordered lenders to request extra documentation before signing off on any offshore remittances. So, as an example, if you are a parent and you want to pay for your child's school expenses in, let's say, America, then you need to go and obtain and then present an acceptance letter permitting you to send that money. And of course, wiring money overseas is not allowed for purposes like purchasing real estate and insurance products, which were specifically named under these new rules. When a government controls the banks, or when banks control the governments, there is no freedom of money happening. It's just the little breadcrumbs that they give you in terms of being allowed to sometimes use your money. That's not freedom. Money becomes the tool of the oppressive state in this situation. Your access to money exists only at the good grace of the state. Well, China is currently perhaps one of the craziest with their insane social credit system, which is rolling out across the country and prevents people from doing things like buying plane tickets if you have exhibited what the state deems to be anti-social behavior. The Western nations are honestly not far behind, with tech giants regularly censoring dissenting political views on their platforms, the surveillance of citizens reaching near ubiquitousness across many of these countries, and major financial services like the credit card companies and PayPal regularly deplatforming people for basically what accounts for wrongthink. It would seem that the financial tyranny virus is spreading everywhere. And you know who cares about none of that stuff? Bitcoin. Bitcoin cannot be stopped. Bitcoin cannot be censored. Bitcoin knows no boundaries, and no state can shut Bitcoin down. Thus, it is no surprise to me that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies more broadly have remained ragingly popular inside of China, with a thriving black market existing there in spite of the official crackdown on the industry by authorities. The harder the governments squeeze, the more people will slip through their fingers. New reports coming out of Argentina show that the nation is again facing massive economic hardship thanks to the policies of the incompetent government. On Sunday, the Argentine government authorized the central bank to restrict purchases of dollars as the central bank is essentially burning through its reserves in an effort to try to prop up the failing peso. Major exporters will need permission from the Central Bank of Argentina to be able to access foreign exchange markets, to both purchase foreign currency as well as to make transfers abroad. The new restrictions will also prevent people from buying more than $10,000 per month or from making transfers exceeding that amount per month. It will also require companies to sell their dollars from exports in the local market, and those companies will not be permitted to stockpile dollars or, save dollars, another way to put it perhaps. Now just think about that, guys. The government is forcing people and forcing companies to be stuck in the peso, a currency which has lost around a quarter of its value in just the last month alone. It is zero surprise to me that Bitcoin remains so popular in Argentina. Looking at these kind of restrictions of what you can and can't do with your money versus having money that's truly yours and you can use anytime you want to send it anywhere you want, it's a pretty easy decision once you understand what the power of Bitcoin actually is. Moving on to India, as reported by Quartz, about 36% of India's high net worth individuals are pessimistic about the Indian economy in the coming years. By the way, India is reported to have around 300,000 millionaires, with around 1,500 in the 100 million plus category and around 130 billionaires. The pessimism about the future of the Indian economy is pushing these high net worth individuals to invest in safer as well as alternative assets. Obviously, real estate at this stage is the classical place for many of these people to dump a lot of their money. However, in spite of the overwhelming desire for many of these people for low-risk assets, around 10% of wealthy Indians said that they would increase their allocation in their cryptocurrency portfolios in the coming years, with a third of respondents saying that they would be buying Bitcoin. In a distant second, Ethereum at 9%. Honestly, no real big surprises here. Of course, a portion of India's high net worth individuals are dabbling in cryptocurrencies. I would also wager that a similar percentage of high net worth individuals globally are getting into crypto. How anyone can look at the return on Bitcoin over the last years and not be interested in Bitcoin as an investment class? Doesn't make any sense. And contrast that with the current state of the bond markets, for example, which are on the verge of massive trouble currently, with the global stock of negative yielding debt now over $17 trillion, and with a total of 30% of all investment grade securities now bearing sub-zero yields, meaning that investors who acquire the debt and hold on to that debt until maturity are guaranteed to make a loss. Crazy that the markets are so grim that investors are still buying these bonds. While some people are calling for a rise in yields, the chance that the yields will take even further hits is becoming very real. Watch for the US bonds in particular to hit negative territory. That will be the all hell breaking loose kind of moment for the already teetering global economy. All of this dysfunction happening, capital controls and negative yield bonds and trade wars, etc., etc., etc. This is why Bitcoin was born in direct response to all of this insanity. In fact, Bitcoin is working exactly as intended right now. Another new network security high has been reached today, with Bitcoin at more than 84 million terahashes a second, which is hard to even conceptualize how secure that is and how much power is being directed towards Bitcoin right now. In total, Bitcoin has transferred more than $7 trillion in value. Total miner revenue has exceeded $14 billion, and miners have collected nearly $1 billion in fees, which is making up more than 3% of their daily revenue currently. And yet users are paying less than 0.02% in fees based on total daily transaction volume of the network. The economics of Bitcoin are working, and I think it's very obvious for the miners. In fact, Bitmain recently announced that they're looking to increase their mining capacity by 50%. Zoom out from that day-to-day price noise. We are still in a long-term uptrend here, with the savvy traders already preparing for the halving that's going to happen in May next year. It may not happen tomorrow or next week or next month, but that rocket ship is going to take off one day soon. And when it does, it's never coming back down here. Buying Bitcoin at these prices is a privilege. You can still get 1 million Satoshis for less than $100 US. I just wonder how long it's going to be until I'm saying, hey, good news everyone, you can still get 1 million Satoshis for just around $1,000 US. That day is coming. Just a question of when. Every day the hodlers of last resort increase, and the demand from new buyers increases. Anyone selling now is either crazy, a gambler, or in a hard spot for cash. Me personally, stacking sats and chilling, guys. Let me know what you think about any of these stories down below in the comment section. As always, you guys are totally freaking awesome, so thank you so much for watching today's video. And of course, if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.